Liebe Freunde von Kaplan24, jetzt sind wir im Weingut Kleine Zalze, eins meiner persönlichen Lieblingsweingüter, weil die auch einen super tollen Golfplatz dabei haben. Und ja, neben mir ist Johann, der Winemaker von Kleine Zalze, und auch ihm werde ich heute wieder ein paar Fragen stellen, damit wir mehr erfahren, wie das Ganze hier bei Kleine Zalze vor sich geht. Johann, thank you very much for having us here.
You're welcome.
It's very pleasant. And I want to know, how did you become a winemaker?
It all starts in a family. My father is a wine grower in Bonneville, which is near to the countryside, and we start off working in the vineyards. The most important thing is he learned me one thing in life is to work for something, and then I will appreciate it more. So important is to work with the farmers, with the workers, to start pruning with them, to hear the stories, to make sure that when we work with the grapes that you can have the feel and the heart for it. I think it's most important for any winemaker in South Africa that if you don't have heart, then you must rather leave winemaking. So important is my father has put that standards down for me.
Okay. And where did you study, and did you also go abroad to get more different experiences for making this wonderful wine here?
Yeah, I think the important thing is when you, first of all, I've studied at Elsenburg Agricultural College, where we have a lot of practical experience. It's a 3-year course. And the nice thing is when I started winemaking, I started with Beyer Strutter from Beyer Stoof. In those days, Kanonkop winemaker, Ronnie Melk from a farmer's winery, and we work in a very old primitive winery where we do the traditional punch down, and that's where I also get in touch of the grapes and working specifically with the grapes and get a feel of winemaking. Importantly is also for us is if you want to make wine, it's important to start knowing your consumer, start knowing the trends of the wines. I think it's important you can easily go egoistic and make your own style of wine, but you also must look at the markets. It's important to keep up with the world trends. Yes, I've been over into Bordeaux, where I visited a lot of the wineries there. I'm also up in Napa, talked to some of the winemakers. These days, very busy at Kleine Zalze, just not having too much time to do it. But in terms of international winemaking, is keep up with the trends, keep up with the wines. Specifically, what we've seen these days about the young Bordeaux winemakers moving into different directions, to start seeing what they're doing, getting a feeling of it, and see if the results. So when I make wine, I specifically like to follow my own style in terms of winemaking, but on the hand is to keep the consumer vision, tasting and palate in mind when you make wine, to produce the best quality fruit.
And how long have you been working now for Kleine Zalze?
Yeah, it's been this year my 10th year. So a lot of success stories. I think we started with winning the Shiraz Challenge. We go on also International Wine and Spirits Competition, was the best South African producer. 5-star platter wines, a lot of well-decorated international wines. But all of what we have a big range of wines, but specifically specialize on 4 or 5 products to reach the market. So important is that we go through the whole process of learning and every day and working on this.
And do you have a favorite grape? And if yes, can you explain why?
I think it's very dangerous to focus on a favorite grape. I've always described the grape that I'm focusing on is the one that get away. For me, it's important that when I work with the different varietals, is to give 100% focus to have the best quality. But in favorite grapes, if I must highlight it, 2 out, it's the Sauvignon Blanc and the Chenin Blanc white from Kleine Zalze. The reason for those 2 whites is the Sauvignon Blanc just linked to different regions, different fruit levels that can help up with blending and understanding the different terroirs. I will spend hours on the road driving from the one block of grapes to visualize the grape, to look at the size of the bunches, to look at the size of the berries, and also to look at different styles of wine. On the Chenin Blancs, it's wines that really are very old in South Africa, getting up to 64 years of age, some of those grapes, and really a varietal that you must put a lot of attention with also in this market from us. On the reds, Cabernet and Shiraz, those two are really the strongest from Kleine Zalze camp. I think it's because we do so many soil holes, we put different grapes. If we have one block of grapes, we isolated different portions of grapes on one block, and then we produce them separately. So it's smaller, vinified, specialized, very delicately worked with grapes, and then very technically way of making the wine separate, blending it, and then understanding about what barrels is working with what grapes, what specific piece of soil. Okay. So if you could go through a study, it takes me about 5-6 years to come through to that with Kleine Zalze, but I'm very successful the last couple of years. I think we're very focused on exactly what's happening in each of this portion of soil. So we have already an allocation of what portion of grapes is going into what product at the final stage.
Finally, how many liters of wine do you produce here at Kleine Zalze, and what is the proportion between the reds and the whites?
Yeah, we do about 90,000 cases of wine, which is on the Kleine Zalze branded grapes, the cellar selection, vineyard selection, and the family reserve. Proportionally, we do about 40% of red, 50% of white, and 10% of rosé. And I think it's important to have that balance in terms of the market, to make sure that you're very competitive in terms of supplying a product on all three levels at a very high quality level for good value of price.
Absolutely. So, Johan, thank you very much. Very interesting. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit, ja.
Und liebe Freunde von Carbon24, das war's mal wieder von uns. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen. Bleibt uns treu und bis zum nächsten Mal. Danke. Ciao.